Hey guys, welcome back to the Bayside Fabrication YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. Well, we're at the home stretch here and just about to cross the finish line. I just have a couple small things to do. I got to wire up my fuel pumps. I have to just connect a power and a ground to the Haltech and kind of connect the wiring and add a few relays and things like that. So there's just like probably another day worth of work, which I'm not going to bore you with. I'll just kind of show you the highlights. And then my buddy Luke has written me a tune just to get this thing started. Now he's out of town for 2 weeks. So essentially what he's gonna do is we're gonna try to get this thing running with the tune that he's going to send me. And then that way I can make sure we have oil pressure, we don't have any fuel leaks, we have the cooling system bled, and essentially it's all ready to rock and roll when he comes back. So that's kind of the game plan today. So I'm just gonna show you kind of a couple things that I'm just finishing up here. And then hopefully we'll get this thing loaded up and we'll hear this thing run for the first time. I'm pretty fired up. All right, guys, check this out. I whipped up this catch can here for our engine breathers. So I didn't film it. I was, late and busy and all that stuff. But essentially inside here, there's a L-shaped baffle with a couple holes drilled in the middle here. So it's more or less sectioned off. So that way fluids can't slosh up and out if they get in here and cause a mess. So this is our breather. We're using two 10AN fittings. These are the inlet fittings. This here is just a 10AN. That's going to be our drain. And let me just show you how this is going to be mounted. I have two breather lines coming in here that I'm going to be tucking away. Those are kind of just out right now. And this whole tank is going right up in here. Okay, so that's the final fit and finish here. Well, we're now into the fun part here, and that's wiring. Let me show you what we're working with here. Looks like fun, huh? So this is the relay panel. And then we have our fuse box here, and it's really not as bad as it looks. Now I was talking to Luke and he wanted to use one of the two fuel pumps in the surge tank on a ground trigger. Essentially what that means is we're going to be able to trigger the second fuel pump from the Haltech. And what that does is it prevents the fuel from unnecessarily heating up. And there's really no point in using all three fuel pumps all the time. If we're just cruising around and everything, it's just a waste of, it's just heating up the fuel unnecessarily, really. So essentially what we're gonna do is just run the third relay with a ground trigger, and the ground trigger is going to fire off that third fuel pump whenever we need it. But for now, we're going to just get our two positive 12-volt triggered relays wired in. So let me get the fuel pumps fired up, and once we do that, I'm actually gonna go grab some E85 and we'll prime our system and make sure there's no leaks in the fuel system. So that'll be one of the major items we can check off before starting this car. All right, guys, kind of a big first step here. We are putting 6.5 gallons of E85 in here. So this tank is completely empty. And what I'm going to do next is prime the fuel system. So my goal here is to make sure all my fittings are leak-free. Everything works. Gotta make sure the fuel rail and all that stuff is all good and there's no pinholes or anything like that in any of the welds when I built it. And really just make sure everything functions as it should. And like I said, check for leaks. That's the big thing. So that's what I'm doing now. We'll see how this goes. All right, here we go. So what I did is I unplugged the AEM 400 grounds just so the surge tank is allowing the surge tank to fill up right now. So right now we're just doing the lifter pump out of the tank. And I hear a fuel leak. Okay, found a fuel leak. Okay guys, source of the leak, you're not gonna be able to see it, but was the fuel pressure regulator. I forgot to tighten up either side of the AN fitting, so they were just finger tight. and obviously that caused the leak. And I don't know how to do it. We're making 40 pounds of fuel pressure. Nothing's leaking. Got going and checked our injectors. Make sure the O-rings have seated right. Those look good in there. Just gonna go around and feel our fuel rail. Nothing feels wet. We'll check our surge tank. Make sure all of our fittings here are good. Nothing's wet or damp. And guys, I think we're good. So it looks like our fuel system is solid at this point, and there's no leaks that I can see, and that's just one step in the right direction. So I'm at the point now where I'm ready for Luke to come and get the car fired up, but he's not gonna be able to get here for a couple more days. So in the meantime, I'm messing around with my exhaust actually. It's something I need to do anyways, but I'm thinking something like this. Probably not sticking out that much, probably more something like that. And as you can see, what I'm planning on doing is just splitting the difference between the bumper and the hatch. That way, when it closes, there'll be even gaps all around. Because if I did it, you know, I originally thought doing something like that, just a little higher, but then I wouldn't be able to close the trunk and it would have to cut out like straight down, and that would just look kind of goofy. Okay guys, so this is the plan. I got 3 3/4 inch hole saw, and I'm thinking I'm just gonna try to fire it right through here. There's nothing behind it. There is some structural support here, but it's nothing major that is anything to worry about. And I'm only gonna be cutting, you know, half a moon out of it. So yeah, that's really not that a concern of mine. All right, guys, let's see how we did. There we go, guys. We're committed. Let's get a piece of straight pipe here. Yeah, this is gonna be nuts, for sure. All right, guys. Today might be the day where I actually might hear this thing fire. We got my boy Luke here working his magic. And so far we ran into a couple small issues that weren't really that big of an issue. Just a couple wire triggering things as far as the triggering the relays for the fuel pumps and stuff. I did it kind of in an incorrect way, so Luke's gotta have me go back and redo it. But at this point, that's not preventing us from really doing anything as far as getting this running. There was an issue with the starter motor wire, and I'm not sure what's going on with that, but that's also not a big deal because right now we can power probe a temporary wire I have in here to turn the motor over. Now we just turned it over with the coils and the injectors disconnected, and I found I had a oil leak. I had a pinhole in my oil cooler block that I made. So unfortunately I have to take that out and weld up that hole. But we were able to build 20 pounds of oil pressure just cranking it dry. And we're at the point right now where Luke's loading up a map, and we're going to just see if this thing can fire real quick. It's gonna piss oil everywhere, but that's okay. We can, you know, handle that. But we just want to make sure this thing, you know, turns over and will fire. So pretty excited about that. Pretty bummed that I missed that little leak on the oil cooler, but that shouldn't be a problem to fix. It maybe take an hour. So we're gonna let Luke work his magic here, and maybe we'll hear this thing fire today. All right, so as we get set up here, just so you guys know what Luke's been doing, he's been calibrating the injectors, the throttle position sensor, our coil, all that kind of shit. So that's what he's been up to, and yeah, I think we might be ready to see this thing maybe turn over for the first time. We're gonna keep our handy dandy fire extinguisher here. We got our fuel pump primes. Let me know when you want me to hit the starter.
Go for it, man.
I'm nervous.
Yeah, I am too.
You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
I smell fuel. 40 pounds of pressure.
All right, try it again. I'm not getting the manifold pressure sensor. I don't think is working.
I have my brake booster hooked up. I have all my vacuum lines connected. No spark.
Let's find out why.
All right, so we're not having any spark right now, so we gotta figure out why that's happening. All right, let's try again. You ready?
Yep.
All right, guys, so I think this is the culprit. Now, when I was in the car, I could have sworn I saw or heard like a little spark, but I wasn't certain, so I didn't think much of it. And it turned out I blew the fuse to the ignition. One of the connectors must have grounded out in my intake manifold, so what do you think?
Let's hope it fires up, huh?
All right.
Give me 1 second.
Well, blowing fuse to the ignition will definitely cause a problem.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
All right.
Ready?
Go for it.
Contact. Yes, dude.
Give me 1 second.
It sounds so good. No big bangs or... It runs. All right, we gotta shut it. It's leaking oil like crazy. Kill it? Why kill it? We got our oil leak. Man, dude. Hell yeah. All right, we got to fix that oil leak. Well, guys, it runs. That's the problem. And I have a laundry list of like wiring and stuff to fix. So I have a list of a bunch of things I need to do. But it runs. It sounds actually great. There's no big bangs, knocks. Valve train sounds awesome. Dude,
You did it,
I'm
man.
fired up. Yeah. I have a running K24 Swapped Porsche. This is nuts. Okay. All right. So your tune's like, I mean, that thing fired up.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
And it sounded smooth. I mean, it stayed running.
It's pretty close. I can't get an accurate fucking O2 reading on it, but looking at what it was doing.
Well, the O2 sensor's a half an inch away from the end, so I'll make a little test pipe for that. Even if it's something that just sticks out here, I'll pull the deck lid off, you know, for the time being.
Yeah.
And but I also got to put coolant in it, bleed the coolant system, you know, all that stuff.
Yep.
For us. So I do have a lot to do on my end of things.
Well, it's fucking.
Yeah, dude.
It's running. I want to try one more thing before, like, I really want to add the percentage in like this.
Okay.
So I'm going to.
I'm just mad at myself for that pinhole. I mean, that's a total me thing. I can't believe I had a pinhole in a weld there.
It happens, man.
Yeah. I guess. That's not a big deal. just one of those things. I've been so like lackadaisical about this swap. Like I've been like, dude, I don't know, whatever. Like when I get, to, I'm not one of these guys who's gonna rush stuff just because. So like, I don't know, it's just been kind of weird. And what was our oil pressure? 80 pounds?
Yeah.
All right, ready?
Yeah.
It kind of shuts it down.
It just kills the fuel pump is what it does.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's not bad. It's like a quarter of a quart.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, it's alright. Alright, cool. Yeah, it fires up. It should run now.
Flushes out the lines. Awesome.
Yeah. So.
All right, I gotta make a list.
Yep.
And then we will reconvene and whenever you're ready. Or whenever I'm ready, really.
Yeah.
Or you're ready. I mean, both of us are ready.
That's cool that it fired up, man.
Yeah, that's very cool. $400 junkyard motor.
Hell yeah.
Purrs like a kitten.
Yep. Not bad.
See how it does under load and boost and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Honda.
It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, dude. Well, I'm gonna make a list, and you tell me
Okay.
if you could think of anything.
Okay.
But off the bat, just because I know you're leaving, but we want to get the fuel pumps wired to the computer.
Yeah.
So we'll trigger the relays from that.
Yep.
We will figure out a starter switch of some sort.
Yep.
And then that's about it, right?
Yep, that's
Okay.
it. So we need to run power from the battery. Obviously for the fuel pumps, I want the main power. Right there, we'll put relays up here and we'll just have the trigger from the ECU come up here.
Okay, perfect.
So, makes sense.
Awesome. Well, there you guys have it. It runs, and I am super pumped. Really disappointed that the reason we couldn't go any further today was because I had a welding error, but these things happen. Luke had to get out here anyway, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And I have a lot of wiring and stuff that we were chatting about to sort out. The way the fuel pumps trigger on and things like that aren't what he wants, and we can control through the computer. And it's all stuff I didn't really know, so that's why he's here to help me. So super excited about this, and yeah, I'm just gonna get picking away at getting this back to square one. Now that we have it so it can idle, I can idle it. I can get my coolant system bled. We'll get the power steering filled and all that stuff. But at this point, we know the motor's good. It turns over, there's no crazy noises. The valve train sounds smooth as can be. And I can't be happier. So this gave me a lot of motivation, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna get back to work and get all the nitty gritty stuff squared away. But guys, until the next one, thanks for watching. And we're gonna start ripping this thing now. So I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Stay tuned.